name is Edna, and I'm a teacher by profession. I teach English literature, and this is my YouTube channel whereby I'm going to discuss oral literature. Today's lesson, we're going to discuss the definition of oral literature, the functions, and the classification. To begin with, if somebody asked you what oral literature is, the obvious answer could be, it is the acted, performed, and spoken art whose media is through spoken word or through word of mouth. Now I'm going to simplify it by using or including the definition of oral literature into three aspects, which is the mode of transmission, the intergeneration transmission, content of what it transmits. What do I mean by this? The mode of transmission, which happens to be oral. Oral means the verbal way of communication by the use of your mouth. Intergeneration transmission. That means being passed from one generation to another. In other words, I'm saying if your grandmother can share some story or a song with your mother, then your mother shares with you, and then later on you can also pass the same song or the same art to your children, and the continuation goes down into other generations. Then number three, the content of what it transmits. Now this content in oral literature basically means we have the oral narratives, we have the riddles, we have the proverbs, we also have different types of songs. That is the content that we are talking about. Now, if we can move to our next section, which is the functions of oral literature. Why do we need to learn oral literature, especially for secondary school students? There are so many functions, and I'm going to just highlight a few of them. Number one, oral literature is a source of entertainment. We can use oral literature for fun. For example, as you seated at home waiting for your evening meal to get cooked, you can be telling stories with your parents or guardians or your grandparents. That is a way of passing information from one generation to another. Number two, oral literature teaches or educates people on moral values or good behavior. Through the songs, through the narratives, we get to learn the moral lesson at the end of it all. And by so doing, we shall have passed some education to the listeners. Number three, oral literature sensitizes people on social and communal values. Then number four, oral literature teaches that culture is a people's way of life. And that same culture gives people confidence in their culture as they get to understand why a community lives the way they do. By learning oral literature, we get to understand our own cultures and those of our neighbors and the people that we get to mingle with. Then number five, closely related to this is what we get to learn about our history or heritage. The study of oral literature provides a useful link with our roots. Then number six, this means that the world of our ancestors is laid bare for the present generation to see. For example, if I can take you back to your history lessons, we get to learn the origin of man. And by so doing, we have narratives that explain the origin of man or how man was created. And so in one way or another, we get to understand our ancestral lifestyle through oral literature. 7. Such a link with the past enables us to understand ourselves. The present is the product of the past to understand where we are and where we are heading to. That is connecting the different generations. Then number 8, having understood our culture forms of good background for us to know other people's culture This fosters good neighborliness and the spirit of nationalism as we understand and appreciate other people. Then lastly, number 10, the study of oral literature provides us with heroes from the past for us to emulate. Which heroes am I talking about? For example, if we get to learn about the legends, we get to know different heroes from different communities. For example, Luanda Magere, uh, whom we shall look at in our later series. Um, okay, now having looked at the functions of oral literature, we're now going to move to the third section, which is the classification of oral literature. Oral literature is classified into three main areas, which are referred to different genres. We have the long forms, we have the short forms, and we also have the poetic forms. Under the long forms, we have the oral narratives and songs. Then under the poetic, we have the panegyric forms and poetry. Then number 3, we have the short forms, which is classified into the proverbs and wise sayings, riddles, tongue twisters, and puns. Now, that marks the end of our today's lesson. I'll like to urge the viewers that please subscribe to my channel so that you can get more videos on oral literature, and later on I'll have to analyze part of our set books, and by so doing you shall benefit. Thank you and bye bye.